In a world where desk space is limited and performance expectations keep rising, mini PCs are becoming the future of personal computing. And today I have here the MiniSForum UN1250, which promises top tier performance in a tiny little compact packaging. It's small yet powerful and built to handle everything from multitasking to demanding workload. When you open up the box, here's what you get: device itself, a 19-volt power adapter, a mount that you could use to attach it to the back of your monitor or underneath your desk for a clutter-free setup, a HDMI cable, and the user manual. Now let's talk about the design. This thing is seriously compact. It roughly measures 5 inches by 5 inches by 2 inches. It's small enough to fit anywhere and on a desk, or it could be mounted behind the screen, or even tucked away in a corner. Overall, it's a very clean and simple design that does not scream for attention, but definitely feels premium. Not too premium because this is plastic, not aluminum like M4 Mac Mini. But hey, it doesn't cost as much as the Mac Mini, so I guess you have to save costs somewhere. Starting from the front, you get a clear CMOS switch, which is a handy little button if you ever mess up the BIOS and need a quick reset. Next to that is the power button, a 3.5mm audio jack, and two USB-A 3.2 Gen 2x2 port. These are nice for faster accessories that rely on faster transfer speeds. Flipping to the back, you get a 19-volt power plug, a USB-C port, USB 3.2, a full-size HDMI port. There's also a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, which means faster LAN speeds if you're wired in, plus a display port and two USB 2.0 ports for your older peripherals. Now, here's the cool part. You can connect up to 3 screens all running 4K 60. But here's the small catch. You need 3 different types of cables. You need a display port, you need an HDMI port, and you need a USB-C port. So it's not as simple as plugging in 3 HDMI or plugging in 3 display ports. You would have to buy separate adapters to make all 3 displays work. This seems a little odd, but at least this option is available with the device to use up to 3 monitors. If you have made it this far to the video, remember to like this video and drop a comment of your favorite feature of this device or something that you did not like about it. Now let's talk about the specs. At the core of this device is the Intel Core i5 1250p processor. Features 12 cores and 16 threads with a boost clock of 4.4 GHz. On paper, this should mean smooth multitasking, and then apps should launch faster and should give it the ability to work on demanding workloads. It also comes with Intel's Iris Xe graphics and 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM running at 3200 MHz, which should keep things very responsive whether you're juggling multiple apps, streaming, or doing some light gaming. Plus, with PCIe 4.0 support, the 1TB SSD promises fast storage speeds, potentially leading to quick boot times and snappy file transfers. All the specs aside, what does this actually mean in a real world use case? To test this, I started by opening up 20 Chrome tabs and streaming a 1080p YouTube video. Then I decided to fire up a Linux Docker container in the background, because why not? And then for a real stress test, I threw in the ultimate challenge, opening up a massive Excel file. If it could survive this without stuttering or sounding like a jet engine, I'd say it earned its multitasking stripes. So did it pass the test? I can confidently say yes, it did. Only noticeable change during this test was that the fan did kick in, but otherwise it handled the tasks just fine. The Mighty Mini performed well during this testing. Next thing I did was test out the video editing feature. I loaded up DaVinci Resolve to see if this device could handle some real video work. I threw in a 10-minute 4K footage shot in 10-bit 422 S-Log3, and then I applied some color grading, and then I hit render. It exported that 4K footage in about 12 minutes. That's pretty solid because considering that this isn't a high-end workstation, it was still able to render 4K videos such quickly. Also in DaVinci Resolve, scrubbing through timeline was smooth, and while it's not going to replace a full-fledged editing rig, it definitely got the job done without feeling sluggish. So if you're doing some light to moderate video editing, this mini PC seems to be up to the task. Now let's talk about gaming. And let's be real that this is not a gaming PC, but that doesn't mean that we cannot see if it handles any games. I tested a couple of games to see if the processor and the graphics could keep up. First up was City Skylines, one of my favorite games. This game loves to eat up the CPU power, and surprisingly, it ran fine around 30 frames per second. It's totally playable for a city builder. Performance stayed fairly stable even as my city grew, though don't expect ultra smooth frame rates as things get very busy in the city. Next up was Counter-Strike 2, and this is where it hit a performance lag. While the game technically ran, it struggled to stay above 30 frames per second. It dipped below 30 frames per second more than I would like it to. Now, I also played the older Counter-Strike Source. I highly doubt anyone plays these days. Then that ran fine. With any issues, it ran just, smooth. So, very old games from like 2010 era, you could definitely play on this. Newer titles, forget it. Now, on to the more business related tasks. Since this device came with Windows 11 Pro out the box, I had to test the virtualization with Hyper-V, which is actually built into the Windows 11 Pro. So the first thing I did was enable that feature and then rebooted the device. And then I opened up Hyper-V and then set up a Linux VM. I installed Linux onto it, mainly Ubuntu Server Edition, and then when I booted it up, the performance stayed stable. Of course, with 16 gigs of RAM, you'll want to manage your resources wisely. So to my virtual machine, I allocated 8 gigabytes of dynamic memory, then 8 processors to the Linux server. By dynamic memory, I mean it could use up to those resources, but if it's not needed, then it's going to stay between a gigabyte or 2 gigabytes. I also tested Docker, and then it ran without any issues. The containers launched quickly, and the performance was solid for development work. On this device, I installed Microsoft SQL Server in a Linux Docker container. Then I loaded some data, and everything worked fine. So you could also install Ubuntu Server Edition. You could do many things on Docker. So do give it a try if you haven't used Docker already. So if you're looking to use this as a mini PC for virtual machines or containerized applications, or even as a tiny home lab setup, this device holds up pretty well, and it's not a bad choice to get started. Now let's talk about the not so good. Now this device comes with a few trade-offs. While it looks aluminum, it's actually plastic, so it lacks that premium feel. Also, the power button, when pressed, doesn't feel premium. But then these are just minor caveats that I wouldn't worry about because you would just probably turn it on once, set it aside, then let it roll. So the feel is all right. It's not premium, but it's not poor either. So it's in the middle somewhere. The biggest downside for some people could be the fan noise. It stays quiet during light use, but under load, the fan does kick on. So putting this on your desk next to your monitor might become an issue. So my recommendation would be either mount it underneath your desk or behind your monitor because it comes with that mounting kit. The further you keep it away from where you work is probably the better option for this device. Now, again, these drawbacks are not deal breakers, but keep in mind that this is a budget friendly machine end of the day. So, who is it really for? This device shines best in the hands of a budget PC user. Anyone who needs a PC for light to moderate use, this is a great fit for a home office, for students, and for casual users who want space-saving desktop. It handles everyday computing tasks quite well, like web browsing, office work, media streaming, and multitasking, even some light content creation. It also could serve as a nice media server or a small home server where you could tinker around and try to, like I do, break things in my home lab. In these scenarios, this device, the UN1250's strength are affordable price, compact size, and decent performance. You get plenty of ports and then the freedom to install Windows or Linux and making it quite versatile for tinkering or for specific projects. In my opinion, for the price, this MiniSForum UN1250 offers a lot of functionality and can be a smart little workhorse in the right setting. A quick disclaimer, just know that I made this video without any sponsorship. The MiniSForum sent me the device. They don't get to see this video before or have any input to this or have there any opinions on this. Everything I say and do is my own opinion. Well, that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll see you in my next one.